Yeah, boy, some great shots. This is Diana and Iniko looking good in these photos. Yeah, I was watching and I remember when they get wet, I think it's a it's a pretty good way to understand how sorry, I just had to enable something real quick. Sorry, folks. Yeah, the yeah, to see how tough they are, and I mean just how well they are adapted to dealing with that wet weather. I mean, they look like they're in pretty rough state, but those feathers they have, those exterior feathers that you see, a lot of their contour feathers just incredibly waterproof. And then we know it from when we handle the birds, they have this really thick down layer. I mean, you have to get to the actual skin level, you have to pull apart it's like they have a little down sweater going on underneath that, all those feathers. So I've always felt like they're always warm, and it looks worse than it probably is, at least from our perspective. But yeah, it's pretty amazing to see what these birds can ride out um, in the especially a big storm like that. That one actually hit. It hit. I think it hit San Simeon bigger than it hit Big Sur.
Yeah,
Um,
it was really windy here.
yeah, I've never
Um,
seen the camera shaking like that. It was just
yeah.
moving all over the place. Love this shot. This is really great. Maybe you can. Who's in this one? What we got? Is
Yeah,
that
I took that picture. That was like right after the storm when it was like getting sunny. And yeah, that 7-Eleven and 10-11. And that's a snag that they like to perch on. And yeah, they were just sunning their wings and trying to dry out their feathers.
yeah? And they dry out pretty quick. Doesn't take much.
Mhm.
Oh, what a great photo.
Yeah, that's another shot of 10-11 while she was sunning.
Beautiful. Yeah, so I mean the good news is they're staying close to home. They haven't really taken a big flight yet. This crew hasn't. The what about the other three?
Let me think. 10:42. I don't think they haven't left the immediate vicinity yet. But they actually, I was surprised the first three when they left, like the first week at least, they didn't leave like the pen area at all. But the last three that released, they are at least exploring like surrounding areas, but not going too far away. But like we can still see them on walking towards the where they are when we go to the blind. But they're definitely like exploring the canyon that's close to the pen more than the other ones were the first week.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if they're following the lead of those other three birds. The first three that went out,
Yeah.
kind of figured some stuff out, for them, and now
Hmm.
they're getting benefit from that. Well, I know the first three, a couple of those birds were away from the site for. I mean, they weren't that far, but it took them a couple weeks to get back, right?
Yeah, 1019 and 1036 were gone. I think 1019 was gone for like Carolyn, do you remember the
Yeah, it
date?
was 18 days. And then 1036, it was 16 days.
Yeah, so just a testament to, we talk about condors don't have to feed every day. And I think it's by design. I think even when they fledge in the wild, they can get in spots where mom and dad might not be able to get to them for a few days. And we know with just some of the storms and the weather, even for the adults, condors basically get pinned down by the weather. And, there's times in Big Sur where the rain just won't stop, to rain for a week straight. So these birds are super well designed. That crop can store food up to 2, 3, 4 pounds of meat in there that can sustain them, and just their fat reserves, like a lot of birds. So it's nice that when we send these birds out, when we talk about our release site, our release checklist for these birds, it's making sure they got plenty of meat on their bones, because for that exact reason, so they can ride out these little stints where they're trying to figure stuff out. But yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of it is they're just kind of sensory overloaded. They're out there just taking it all in, and just connecting all the, trying to figure out how to fly. And it's pretty amazing. Oh, look at this shot, man. So this is yeah, this is Rosalie, one of the first three released.
Yeah, that was taken the same day of like 10-11 and 7-11 all sunning in that canyon. So they were all taking advantage of that little bit of sun.
This was after the storm?
Yeah, it was right after the storm.
Yeah, and I mean, look how dry. I mean, pretty much almost dried out.
Yeah.
There's a wet bird.
Yeah.
They do look funny when they're wet. Yeah, this is a great shot. Well, awesome photos. Thanks for taking all those, because I think, we get a lot of, it's hard to put yourself out there, but the photos really bring you into that world, of kind of behind the scenes of what you can't see, what these birds are really going through. And just even coming and flying in and landing on this snag is a challenge for a bird that's never flown before, coming in at 30, 40 miles an hour, careening in, learning how to land on that spot, and then picking a good spot to ride out the storms. I think that's the biggest, I think of our concern the last week was, boy, did they pick a good spot? Because, the winds those winds get crazy enough, they could blow them off a tree like this, so ideally they get in a tree with a lot of cover and they're kind of lower down a canyon. But yeah, I'm glad to hear they rode out their first storm. So it's first storm. They got a notch on their belt, I guess.
And Joe, a lot of positive, appreciative comments about the photographs. One question from Karen, how far is that canyon from the release site? How far away are many of these pictures taken from the release site?
It's very close, actually. Yeah, it's literally just like right across from where the pen is, which is up on this little hill, and then the canyon's like right there.
Yeah, so someplace that you just don't quite see on explore.org. So it's a great extra view. Much appreciated.
And here's our favorites, Mike's bird and Big Gulp. So any prospective females they're looking into trioing up with, you think, or?
We haven't seen any yet, but they have been displaying to each other a little bit. So
Eventually they will draw the eye of a special someone. Well, ideally a special couple, and they each go off and pair up and we get two nests out of it. But yeah, pretty good to hear. Everyone's always curious what these two are up to down there. And it is unfortunate that they had a really good trio going with 725, and unfortunately we lost her to lead poisoning. So might take a little while for, again, condors are long lived. If they don't find a mate right away, it's definitely not abnormal. So it definitely takes time. So hopefully they find a suitor soon. So Iniko's journey almost came to a full circle from the time we rescued her, where she survived the fire, the rescue, to release. It was really cool to see her make the full circle journey. And, it was definitely a celebration to just finally see her go out. I think for all of us, we're a little emotional to see her finally take that first leap back to freedom. And we're all excited for the day she reunites with with Redwood Queen, what will happen there. But yeah, we posted a video this week, and I wanted to show it again, that Joan put together. The crew did a lot of the filming. It pulls together clips from back the nest cam last when Iniko was a chick, all the way up to now, up to the release. So that's this video right here. I'm going to play this. It's about 4 minutes long, so enjoy. I think we like this footage at the end of Iniko right after she was released, because she pretty aggressively protected that carcass. Awesome job too. Big shout out to Joan for putting that together, Joan Biddle. Thank you, Joan, and all the crew for putting together an awesome presentation. But you guys could speak to it too, that we're down there when she ran out. I mean, she was pretty aggressive on the carcass, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think she got in a little tussle with 904, who's a much older bird who was out there, and she definitely gave him a piece of her mind as soon as she got out. She was ready to get at that food, so it was really, really awesome to see that.
Yeah, and on the chat line, Eve comments, "I'm not sure Iniko knows that she doesn't have to eat every day." I'm thinking now that Iniko is getting a little bit of a reputation for her eating. But also, there's a question: has Iniko received any sort of mentor from another bird? Has another bird come in and shown mentoring behavior towards Iniko?
So I haven't seen that personally. If anything, Iniko is the mentor at this point. She's really taking to being back in the wild. She like today, for example, she like puffs up her cheeks and just like starts grunting at the other condors, and they move for her. And they let like 566, the dominant male that's there, he lets her eat with him, and like he doesn't let others eat with him. So I think she's the mentor bird at this point.
She's definitely got the redwood queen lineage.
Yeah.
I mean, she's definitely a child of the queen.
Oh yeah, excellent.
Yeah, and we are still holding the Yurok redwood birds. They'll be with us again until it sounds like spring. We're guessing the end of February, early March. And those birds will be taken from San Simeon up to the new release site up in Northern California. And from what I hear, they're in the midst of constructing the pen, and things are looking pretty darn good.
Hey, Joe, Lori in Los Angeles wants to know, why do the Yurok birds have black tags?
It's nothing specific. It's really from the facility they came from. Those are temporary IDs. I believe the Yurok and redwood they might have. I don't think they've decided on the tagging system they're going to use in terms of numbers and colors for up there, because they're kind of an independent flock. But right now, those are temporary tags. But again, they still represent their stud book numbers. We put the last 2 digits of the stud book on there. But yeah, good question. All right. Take it away, Darren.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Yes, so a quick update on some of the wild fledged chicks. So starting with 1077, who's a Uniperos chick. Kind of holding steady with that. We're hopeful that chick is still alive, and based on 663's flight patterns and when we've been able to see him, it definitely seems like he's still trying to get food to help raise that chick. So sort of on standby with that. And yeah, we're checking the cameras and photos and from trail cameras that we have set up all over our feeding sites to see if an untagged juvenile shows up at some point. I know a lot of you folks out there are watching the Explore Cam too, to see if an untagged juvenile shows up, and that'll probably be our best indicator of what 1077 status will be when he shows up there. Moving on to 1089, who's a Amigo and Kodama's chick. We haven't seen that chick in a little while, but based on the parents and their activity, we've been following the parents pretty closely, and they keep returning to this spot that's pretty close to the nest. So we're pretty confident what they're doing is they're returning to where their fledgling is, 1089, and checking on that bird, making sure that it's okay, and giving it food pretty regularly. So we're very confident that chick is doing just fine. 1095, I think Tim has seen this bird most recently. But yeah, that chick seems to be doing okay. Kind of similar to 1089, where both the parents Ferdinand and Pinnacle's female 550 are going back to the nest area pretty regularly to check on that chick. So yeah, we know that chick's doing all right. And 1104 is the chick we've been able to get the most visuals of recently. Again, that's Miracles and Nomad's chick. And I think Evan and Kara will talk about a little later here. They were up there a couple weeks ago and got to see that chick with both parents. So we'll look forward to hearing from them on that chick a little more. Yeah, and then the Pinnacles chicks 1078 and 1096, they're doing great. I think just a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago, chick 1078 showed up to the facility that Pinnacles operates for the Condors there, and was with a bunch of other free flying birds, and it was looking great. So we were really excited about that news. And then 1096, I think Tim also saw pretty recently and got some really awesome photos of that I think we'll show here later. But yeah, both of those chicks from Pinnacles are doing great as well.
Yeah, and believe it or not, we were talking about this, Darren, earlier. Nest season is right around the corner. The next one.
Yeah. Yeah. We're starting to put together sort of lists of potential breeders this upcoming year, and yeah, it's right around the corner. So we've got a few birds we're keeping our eye on. Some birds that have been hanging out together for a long time now, who we hope will nest finally this season. So yeah, in the next Zoom update, we will have more information on that and feature some of those birds.
Yeah, and with Redwood Queen and Phoenix, we're hoping to get the nest cam going sooner than later. Maybe catch more of as they investigate the nest, try to get some of that pre-nesting behavior, so everybody can start tuning into that. Again, we just got to work out some kinks there. But we hope to have that rolling for everyone this year, and hopefully they do really well. All right, this is a great picture. I think this is Evan and Kara, jump on in.
Yeah, so Evan and I went out, I think it was last week, and our main goal was to see this chick, and it was really a quite windy day, and that area was burnt in the Dolan fire, so we kind of pre-made the decision to not go off trail, just the risk of falling tree and branches and everything, and hoped that we would be able to see this chick. And kind of pretty instantly we saw 538, and then we saw 574 flying all over the place, and then I was walking down the trail, and Evan pointed over my head and was I think that's, and it was a chick. So all three of them were kind of flying all around us and extremely aware of us being there. But the chick is flying amazingly, and yeah, we hope to see it up in Big Sur soon.
Yeah, and the photo on the right, this is why this is such a special spot. This is the view from this nest area. Pretty incredible spot. I mean, condors tend to pick the most amazing areas to nest, and this one definitely ranks up there.
Yeah, we're definitely lucky to be able to go out and watch those birds in these beautiful places. That was just the most amazing view while we were looking at an untagged juvenile flying around wild fledge. It was just, an incredible moment.
Yeah, I mean, those are the moments, as biologists, those are the moments we live for. This view right here, just there's such a magic to it when it happens. You definitely, it's pretty awesome, because not only that, the chick survived, but at the same time, it's such a sign of hope. There's no better sign than when the birds are producing in the wild, and when you just see this perfect specimen, this untagged, clean. Look how clean that bird is. It's the way it's supposed to be. So
yeah, Evan and I definitely looked at each other and were like, wow, there's 3 condors flying around here right now. And as I said, the parents were definitely looking down on us, being very aware of us, but we're like, you guys did that. That chick is fledged and flying around. So it was really special.
That's so awesome. And then this photo, I think Tim is here, right, Tim?
Yep.
Yeah, you captured some pretty amazing photos the last couple of weeks. This is a great one of 1095. Maybe give us a little background on on when you got this shot.
Yeah, this was maybe 3 weeks ago. I was hiking in Big Sur and managed to spot this bird flying around. And I always hike with a camera in my hand just in case. And this, although this kind of looks like I'm wide open, I was shooting through a mass of trees, and I had a half-second window where the bird was in a gap, and I just blasted away on the shutter and managed to get this shot before it disappeared behind more trees. So I got lucky.
Yeah, and I mean that's like we were talking about. It's a pretty amazing feeling when you do sneak a view at these wild fledged chicks, because they definitely have a very wild feel. I mean, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, it's as others were saying, it's like you're seeing the eventual future of the program when you're seeing the birds with no tags flying around, and it's very cool to see. I've been lucky enough now over the last 3 or 4 years to be able to see untagged juvies flying around, and it's been great.
Speaking of which, you got another one.
This is 1096. This is taken in pinnacles in the park from a hiking trail, so anybody could go hike there, potentially see an untagged juvenile flying around. And this was last Friday. I just got lucky. For whatever reason, a whole bunch of birds have decided to spend the night up at the High Peaks area, and this was one of 26 birds I saw flying around that morning. And yeah, it's always cool to see the untagged birds. I did actually see 1078, the other Pinnacles juvenile, but that bird has a tag on it already, and so it's not quite the same. But yeah, to see 1096 with no tag flying around is pretty cool.
Yeah, these are amazing shots, and you always say, "Oh, I just got lucky," but I don't know, man. You put in the time, so you do a lot. You got to be in the right place at the right time for sure. Yeah, and I think we all look forward to that day when none of these birds have tags. You know, we know it's part of what we have to do right now to understand what's going on with condors, but I think we all look forward to that day and work towards that day of not seeing condors with tags. And that will be a great day for sure. But yeah, these birds will be untagged for a while. We will eventually catch them and get transmitters on them again. We want to know how these birds will do in the wild, especially wild fledged birds. We want to know their survival, how long they make it. If they don't make it, we want to know why they didn't make it. So it's the only way we can do that is by putting these transmitters on these guys. So it's not an easy task, but fortunately the condors are very large and they can accommodate these transmitters pretty easily. So yeah, it's a great tool, important tool, really pays huge dividend for the conservation of the species.